Hello, soul travelers, and welcome back to our YouTube channel, The Circle of the Invisible Flame. Sometimes we think we are choosing our path in life, but sometimes the path chooses us. I never planned on being a teacher. In fact, when I was young, I wanted to be an archaeologist, but life had other plans. My unexpected path. I won't give you my life story in a long, roundabout way. I'll cut to the chase. I studied languages and eventually graduated with a double major in Spanish and French and a double minor in English and German. At one point, I was even studying computer programming when that field was just beginning. I wrote a language loop program in binary codes that received attention at the university. That opportunity even brought a visit from the then governor and an unexpected job offer to the United Nations and the Embassy of the United States in Quebec. Life seemed to be moving in a completely different direction. Teaching was never part of the plan. So how did I end up in my first classroom? Well, I'm not going to tell you what happened with those job offers, but after graduating, I accepted a job as a computer terminal operator at a middle school. My job was simply to prepare teachers' rosters. But halfway through the year, the ESL, English as a Second Language teacher, left. The principal, who knew what my bachelor's degree was in, asked if I would temporarily cover the class. I was terrified. And originally I said no. But he got me emergency credentials and said it was only temporary. I remember wanting to run out of the classroom sometimes because the responsibility felt overwhelming. I have always believed that teachers carry an enormous responsibility. They help shape the ideas and lives of their students. Needless to say that as soon as an opportunity presented itself, I left. I did finish that school year though. It was the following year when they still had not gotten a teacher and the principal decided it was to be me that I ran out. How did I end up back in the classroom then? Well, I worked daytime at the auto club, or AAA as most people call it. And to supplement income, I decided to apply at an adult school for an evening job as a secretary. The night of my interview, I arrived, and one of the teachers had not. And the director who was going to be conducting my interview was in her classroom. I was sent over to the classroom, and he asked me if I would watch the class for a moment while he checked on the teacher's whereabouts, and then he would do the interview. So I did. I stayed there. The students were beginners and didn't speak much English. So when the starting bell rang and the director had not returned, I couldn't just stand there and have 20 pairs of eyes staring at me. I began to ask questions. What they had learned. What was the last thing they saw? And I began reviewing numbers and the alphabet and colors and simple dialogues, whatever came to my mind, using whatever I could find in the classroom. When the break bell rang, which was an hour and a half later, I ran to the office and asked if the teacher had arrived. The director looked at me and said, "Yes, She has. It's you. Not exactly in those words, but he had been standing outside the classroom listening the whole time. That's how I found myself in the classroom again. This time I figured I should listen and stay for a while. The moments that confirmed all of this. Well, there were two key moments later that told me I was exactly where I was supposed to be. The first happened at the adult school. One night, someone broke into our home while I was teaching. My husband was at work and the kids were in school. My husband came to school with the kids and the police and the director and went to my classroom, and I was pulled out and the director took over my class for me so I could go home. At the end of the semester, I learned something extraordinary. The day of the break-in, the director had communicated to the students what the police had told him about why I needed to go home. Later, they confirmed with me that the thieves had all day to empty out our home, including our jewelry, which included our high school graduation rings, college anniversary rings, wedding sets, videos, regular games, you name it, everything. They had time to empty the entire house. Among my students, there was a jeweler. And upon hearing what happened, all the students got together and they collected small pieces of gold. I was teaching at a predominantly Hispanic community. Actually, I think all the students were Hispanic. Hispanics, we have a tendency to, we if our earrings are gold and we lose one, we keep the other one. Why? Because it's gold. We don't have anything that matches it, but it's gold. We're going to keep it. So all of those mismatched pairs and pieces of gold that they weren't using anymore, they gave them to this jeweler who then melted it and created a ring with three tones, three colors. And at the end of the term, they presented it to me. I still wear this ring every day. It reminds me of them. The second moment was just as emotional. It happened when I was teaching sixth grade. OTs, actually, they're called opportunity transfers. These are students who committed some kind of indiscretion. Most of the time, they got into a fight with another kid. It escalates when they start fighting with the teacher, but they don't bring weapons to school or anything like that. They have just been suspended, actually, or expelled from another school district, and they went to this particular school as their last opportunity, their last resort before heading into or ending up in juvenile hall, as we call it. The students in that class transformed, complete 360-degree turn, so much that the entire school noticed. Kind of like Kindergarten Cop. If you never watched that movie, you watch it. I recently watched it. These kids, they became the pride and joy of the school. When it was time for me to leave that school, and I'm not going to go into the whys and hows, it was bittersweet. I didn't want to leave, but I had to. One girl cried and begged me not to go. She continued writing letters to me for years. And she got to college, she got married, had a family, became very successful. That was when I understood something important too. Sometimes we don't choose our path. Sometimes the path keeps calling us back. And this was my path, my journey. and my mission in life. Looking back now, I realized that teaching was never something I planned, but somehow every road kept leading me back to the classroom. And it could be the same for you. So you see, our life is planned by us before we are even born. And I understood that, yes, we have free will and we're going to do this and we can choose how we're going to do it. But ultimately, if we stray, we're going to be placed back on the path. And I saw that happen to me so many times. So I also understood that the place or the path that we resist the most is very often the place where we are meant to serve. So my question to you is this: how has your life taken turns and taught you your life path? Please share in the comments. I really want to hear from you. If you haven't done so, please hit the likes on this video so that others have that opportunity to listen to it. And if you haven't subscribed, do so, please. And share this video with anyone you think could benefit from my story and others that are in this channel. I am Simera'Kai, and I leave you with lots of love, light, and peace. Until our next chat.